I will be moderating for the next 45 minutes, but please help me welcome to the stage. She is a New York Times best-selling author. You may see her currently on Netflix on Chelsea or Chelsea Does, or from her 8 years on the E! channels Chelsea Lately. Denver, Colorado, make a lot of noise right now for Chelsea Handler! Chelsea Handler! Very excited. There's a lot of people.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Denver.
Come on, make some noise. Oh, man.
Hi.
Well, that was it. So thank you all for joining us.
Are you leaving?
Yeah, we're just doing it quick. It's a very quick session today. They had to get different chairs, by the way, because the other ones made me look too big.
You're a big boy.
So, well, thank you.
Like Bob's Big Boy.
I am actually just the burger from Bob's Big Boy. I'm the one that he holds up. But they gave me a bigger chair because they were like, it looks like you're not
Are you
actually
able
sitting.
to cross your legs? That looks uncomfortable. You're getting bigger as we speak, it seems.
I'm Violet Beauregard from Willy Wonka. Just keep feeding me, and this has gone off the rails already. I'm very happy.
It's a digital summit. It can't go off the rails.
Yeah, digital is off the rails. I am actually very comfortable right now until you said that. Now,
well, great. I'm glad that I feel like I'm sitting in a cereal bowl. So I'm glad one of us is fucking comfortable.
Oh, you couldn't read the sarcasm. I am wildly uncomfortable right now. I actually had to buy socks because I didn't have fancy enough ones. I was like, you know what? I'm interviewing Chelsea, so I got to get the socks. Nobody cares about my socks. I thought I could just say, check out my socks, and someone would go, yeah, and literally zero. All right. That's what happens when you smoke pot for too long as a city. You just stop caring about the little details.
That's another great thing about Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah. Progressive. It's good. That's great. Everybody should be smoking pot if they feel like it.
Progressive naps every day at 3.
Exactly.
It's a very progressive
That's called a
city.
siesta.
Yeah. Who knew that Denver and Spain were going to become the same country?
We're going to join forces like that.
It's a lot of people on scooters without helmets. It's a good time. That's the thing I got excited about because I live in New York. There's a lot of pot in New York, but...
Yeah, they're not. I can't believe it's not legal in New York either medicinally, right? It's not legal in New York.
No.
We just had it legalized in California, in the state of California, on the 1st of January. So now everybody can buy it. And I obviously, like, any alcohol, I like to alter my state of mind. But it's great for children with autism. It's great for so many people who are able to use it for health reasons that I'm just really glad that people are opening their eyes to it more.
Yeah, actually, Georgia just legalized like hash oil for kids that have a lot of problems where they need to have that as a medicine, which is surprising that Georgia did that before New York, which kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, well.
I like doing local bits where I'm not in that local. What do you guys think about Macon, Georgia? Nobody cares? All right. It's a wildly specific reference. But this is great. Thank you for joining us here. It's interesting because, these are all marketers and people in the marketing space and communication space. When I was telling people, we're like, oh, what's going on in Denver? And I say, oh, I'm going to be interviewing Chelsea. They immediately think of you. Like, you have a pretty interesting thing with your name as a brand, because nobody said Clinton. Like, nobody asked me. They immediately knew it was you. And a lot of them thought that your last name was Lately, which I had to smack them correctly.
Yeah, that's tough when people think that that's my last name.
Is that something you've had to deal with?
Because I try to be very kind to people, especially when they're strangers in an airport or wherever. And when somebody says, oh, my God, I can't believe it's Chelsea Lately, I want to go, do you think that that's my last name? That's not a last name. So... no one is named Lately, so it's not like a Jewish, small town, like nobody, and there's a bunch of Latelys out there somewhere. There are none. So, yeah, lately, when people say that, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it could be, I guess.
Let's do a quick poll. Is anyone here last name Lately? Wow, it's like my sock joke all over again.
I feel like you're going to mention your socks again.
I honestly, I spent $9 on them, and that's way too much for a pair of socks for a comedian.
I don't wear socks ever. I hate them.
Really?
They make my feet sweat. So even when I go running, I don't wear socks.
I'll take my socks off right now.
Well, don't, please. I feel like we have different issues, and yours might be socks.
They're medical. Medical grade.
Medical socks.
Yeah. They're medical. I'm in Denver. I wanted to get everything medical that I could. My shoe's also untied. You want to make fun of me for that too?
No. You're doing this all by yourself. I'm just sitting here.
This is great. This is actually just my time to shine. I don't really, honestly, they could have put anybody here, and this has just been me talking the entire time. But what about that with the branding? Like, there's, you know, you're synonymous with the name Chelsea, or even just hearing the word Chelsea.
I was just thinking how funny it is when Chelsea Clinton gets confused with me. She must be like, oh, shit.
Do you know her at all?
I've met her. I've interviewed her, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't hang out with her.
You and Chelsea? The Chelseas don't have like a book club?
Yeah, too many Chelseas for me.
But what I mean, at the beginning of your career, because you've been involved in comedy and production and television for a very long time, before your name, you had a brand like that. What was it like building an unknown brand? Like, or did you anticipate having this wild brand and very successful brand as, you know, coming up as a comedian and starting in that world?
No, I never anticipated being successful at anything, really. I mean, I wanted to be successful, but I didn't really know how I was going to do it or how it was going to come about. I never was going to do, you know, a late night talk show. I was never going to do stand-up comedy. All these things kind of fell into my lap as I was going through my life in my 20s in Los Angeles. I wanted to be, you know, known and seen, and I had opinions, and I wanted to say them out loud, and I found the best way to do that is to be on a stage with a microphone by yourself with no one interrupting you. So that's how I fell into stand-up.
Well, I want to apologize for all the questions that I'll be asking and interrupting for the next couple minutes.
You can interrupt me. I interrupt people all the time. It's a terrible habit, but you know, it's not easy to get rid of. Anyway, and so I didn't really have a strategy. I mean, a lot of people now in this business, in business, and all of you sitting here know very well that, you know, a lot of people can be much more strategic. There are the Jessica Albas of the world. There are who want to come out with products and, you know, who have a niche market, or not even a niche market. It's a big, huge market. So, you know, like a Gwyneth Paltrow or something. I was never really set out to do that. I just kind of wanted to have fun at work, you know, and also just to have a really good time doing whatever I was going to be doing. And that ended up being stand-up, and then that turned into TV shows, and then it just, one thing led to another. So no, whenever I was approached to do any sort of endorsement deal or marketing, like, you know, anything like that, I've always kind of been like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that kind of person. I don't want to be fraudulent in any way. For me, authenticity is like everything. And if people can't trust the people that respect me and like me, if they can't trust what I have to say, then, you know, I can't come out with a perfume. You know, that's just not believable.
Foot Sweat by Chelsea.
Yeah, Foot Socks by Chelsea and Mike. I mean, I would call it regret, but I wouldn't come out with one. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not on brand. Like, I did an endorsement deal with Belvedere for a couple of years, but I approached them and said, hey, I love vodka. I'm a drinker.
You like vodka?
Yeah,
really?
I know. And I know you probably haven't heard about that. But
no, never read the book.
I went and, oh yeah, I wrote a book about it. That's right. And I went to them and I said, hey, can I...
Oh yeah, I wrote a book about vodka. That's the greatest, by the way, that anyone could talk about their book. Oh yeah, I wrote a book about vodka.
Are you there, vodka? It's me, Chelsea. That was the title. So we have a strong relationship, vodka and myself. And so for a while I did a deal with Belvedere. Like, I did a deal with 7-Up because I'm obsessed with Diet Canada Dry Ginger Ale. Like, I'm an East Coast girl, and growing up, that was like the one ameliorant to being sick was like freezing cold Canada Dry Ginger Ale. Yeah. So I did an endorsement deal with them, who obviously owns 7-Up too. But in recent, like, you know, now in the last couple of years, when I get approached for something, I'm first of all a very divisive figure. I'm not, like, you know, brand friendly to a lot of people that are, you know, like, I don't know who would be a good example of that, but they're going to go to Reese Witherspoon. They're not going to come to me and say, hey, do you want to...
They'll go to Ryan Seacrest and go, dance like an idiot, and we'll give you $1 million.
I'm not like that. I'm not pretending to be like that. And so when I do something, it has to be really authentic to what I like. You know, it has to be either really funny or really, like, you know, helpful in a cause that I believe in, or it has to be something that actually makes sense that I use in my life. So when I get approached to do something, they send it to my house. I try it out for a while. I much prefer throwing shout outs to the products I like without being paid for it. But if there can be synergy and there can be something that I really, really like, then obviously if it's a match, it's a match. So, for example, I just did something for a brand called Cover FX that I shot last week with this little YouTube star. I shouldn't say little, but he was smaller than me. And this Hawaiian YouTube star called Bretman Rock, and they sent me videos on him. They're like, we think it would be a really funny mashup. You guys have nothing in common. You're nothing alike. And I watched some YouTube videos of his, and I was like, this is funny. I would like to do something like this. You want to maintain that audience, that he's got a huge audience online, and you want to maintain that kind of youthful audience as I'm not, 25 anymore. So that made sense for me.
Sure.
Certain little things, if I can do them with my friends, even when I work on TV shows or something. I'm doing an episode of Will and Grace next week, and that's because I'm doing it with my best friend Mary McCormick, and we play a lesbian couple, and we just thought that was really funny. I mean, obviously I have the luxury to make those kinds of choices, but you have to be proactive because you have to stay, if you're in this business, you want to have, relevance is a really gross word, but it's a necessary word. And,
right.
You want to be reaching the right markets for yourself. So
how early in the process do you get involved, like with a Canada Dry or the vodka? How early on do you get in the creative with that, because it's your voice, it's your brand that's going to be, promoting it in a way? How early on do you get involved? Like how much do you want to get your hands in it?
Well, I'm not going to say anything that I don't want to say ever. I'm not. There isn't a paycheck for that. So I'm not going to ever be. I'm not going to. I have to find things that are right for me. Vodka was a natural fit. So immediately I said to them, I love this brand. I want to promote it and be vociferous about it. And then they were like, great, let's do it. So it wasn't. We creatively we just get together, brainstorm, and figure out a way to do it. And pretty much at the the outset, I would say, as soon as they agree to it. I'm sure some brands, if I approach them, would be like, please leave us alone. But, you focus on the things, you focus on your audience, the audience you do have, the people that do like you, not the people that don't, and the people that are going to say no. That's just part of the process.
Has there been people approaching your brands approaching you that want you to just read the script and we'll give you this amount of money? Does that happen, or do they know, or is it pretty obvious because of who you are and the brand you project? Do they know not to even bother?
Yeah, I don't really follow scripts, so pretty much people know that. So I kind of have to put my own spin on it. That's me being when you're I was a comedian for many years. I haven't done stand-up in a while. I don't see myself doing it again anytime soon. But it was a part. You can't have somebody put words in your mouth. The part of your authenticity is the fact that you do have a strong point of view, that you aren't going to be doing things just for a paycheck, that you're going to have to be interested in the product that you're endorsing and believe in it and having it help you. There are so many. We all are using stuff every single day that we benefit from. So it's just about kind of coalescing with that partnership and that brand and saying, yeah, this is something that makes a lot of sense. Let's do this. So you have to have all of that has to be on the table and understand that I'm going to put my own spin on it, that I'm going to want to make it friendly to my audience, and that I'm not going to be blowing up my social media pages with that kind of nonsense. I'll do that once in a while if it's something, but I'm not going to do that all the time. I'm not going to do paid endorsements all the time.
Right.
I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Is there one tactic or even one area of social media or media in general that you think is the most useful for you? Is it always Twitter is a no-brainer, Instagram, Snapchat? Is there one specific thing that you think when someone approaches you or for a brand endorsement or any type of endorsement that you think this is the best way to do it for you?
Well, they're all different. Obviously, Twitter for me is political. Instagram is for people to look pretty and put filters on their faces. I still don't know how to use any of that shit because I'm a Luddite and I'm not tech savvy at all. You should have seen me in my hotel room this morning trying to get on Wi-Fi. I almost started crying. I have serious technological issues. I'm not up to speed. I'm really trying very hard to become a little bit more self-sufficient in that department and understand how things work without losing my patience and fucking slamming my iPad, especially when you're on a plane and people are looking at you like you're a toddler. So
who's that crying in the front?
Who's that grown woman in tears?
It's Chelsea Clinton again.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Snapchat's just to be an idiot, that's just walking around with filters on your faces and all that stuff. And Facebook is for people to tell you they want you to die. So I think people are pretty...
You saw my post earlier. Oh, cool. I thought I put that on private.
People are pretty into Instagram right now in terms of selling things. I don't think Twitter is a really good sales tool. It's a good promotional tool to like tell people where you're going to be or for events. But I think Instagram, Facebook are the places that people are really spending the most time of day on right now.
Right.
You know, and that is a buyer's market. People that are on Instagram and on Facebook are spending money. But you know, that younger audience is coming up, and they're all on Snapchat.
Yeah, Snapchat is the one that I'm still. I can't figure. I think I just don't like the look of my face. I don't think my arm's long enough.
That's the perfect place for you then, because you can put on a whole bunch of other faces.
I don't think my arm's long enough to make my face look small enough.
You have to get arm extensions.
Arm extensions, and I won't hold a selfie stick. I'll just ignore that entire piece of media altogether, than rather have a selfie stick. Is there one thing that you think that doesn't ever work for you? Is there or one like product that you tried or endorsement that you tried? You were like, oof, not doing that again. And why?
Like, for instance, this makeup brand Cover FX approached us, or me, and Brett, and we didn't know each other beforehand, obviously. So I said, well, not obviously, we just didn't know each other. And I was like, well, makeup. I'm like, what am I going to do with makeup? Like, I don't even, I can't do my own makeup. I don't even know how that goes. And they were like, no, it'll be funny. He'll be showing you how to do makeup, but he's really just into doing his own makeup, so you'll just be left there with trying to do makeup, and you'll do a bad job, but whatever. They made it funny. And so they made it so that it would be like an interaction rather than just a sales pitch and me looking pretty walking through a grocery store selling Maybelline. Nobody is going to believe that.
Right.
That's just not who I am. And so it's good to embrace, exactly who you are if you're promoting a brand, and what brands are going to be friendly to you, and vice versa. You shouldn't be like, I have friends who've said yes to deals where they didn't even know the product, or they've promoted something that they tried out for a week, and it's just, that's not what I want to do. And I get why people do it. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So a lot of people here and a lot of the attendees here are in a position where they're looking to find some sort of influence with partnering with other people, whether it be at any level, really, any level of celebrity or political or other brands that they could join forces with. But also a lot of them don't have, there's a lot of startups, there's a lot of people that are at the very beginning stages of that. Do you have any advice as far as how they can begin the process of approaching, trying to gain some influence?
The good thing is that everybody wants to make money in this, in this market. I mean, there are endless possibilities. There are endless groups, endless celebrities now. I mean, there are so many more celebrities than I think we've ever known about. I mean, whether that's because of social media or a product of social media, you could debate that, I guess. But the possibilities are endless. It's about, you want to appeal to different age groups mostly. I mean, most companies do, and some companies just want to start out with one age group. I was at a meeting yesterday because I want to come out with this app that I've been working on with some friends, and they're like, you just have to focus on one niche market first, and then we can broaden it out there. Which market do you want to hit? And we're like, well, wait, why can't we focus on, 18 to 25, and then 25 to 34, et cetera? And, that strategy is a little bit different. We're not coming from this world, so you guys know a lot more about this than anybody like I would. So, but anyone like me would. But I think, it goes always back to authenticity. When I see somebody, a girl on Instagram promoting something, and like, you can tell, you can sniff it out in 10 seconds if you think it's bullshit. And if it's not, you're like, oh, that's an interesting, like somebody who does great ads to me and promotes stuff that she loves is Jennifer Garner. Like, she really means it when she's doing something. Like, she is a sweet person. She comes across as exactly as she is. And she promotes things that she cares about, like ballet. I mean, she's not doing a paid endorsement with that, but if she were to, you would get it because it's all over her feed. So it makes sense. So I don't know what kind of ballet promotional tool anybody would want to do, but that's your girl for that if you want a big celebrity, You find out what these celebrities' interests are by their Instagram feeds. If somebody's in bikinis all the time, it makes sense for them to be doing bikini ads or promoting a bathing suit. If, Jennifer Lopez, it makes sense for her to do a fragrance and, body shimmer or whatever all of her stuff is. That makes sense. She's constantly half naked looking like she's got a great tan. So... It adds up. It's just about making sure the pairings are right, because me as a viewer, or I as a viewer, I can't get my pronouns right.
It is Denver.
This as a viewer. I get, I'm bristled easily when something is fake, and I'm anti-fraudulence. I like everyone to be transparent and everyone to be see-through, and I know that's not the way the world is, but you can continue to be that way and just hopefully run into more people like that.
I think too that there's a lot of people that don't want to reach out to people that don't have tons of influence yet. Hit me up when you have 10,000 followers. Is like, well, for $4 I could get 10,000 tomorrow. Like, I don't think that's what you really want. So I think that seeing through to the content that they're producing rather than the draw they have today can be an important thing.
Well, it's also like when these people are doing different endorsements all day long, like, weekly, there's a different one. And I mean, that's not how the contracts work. You can only do, a set endorsement in a particular arena for a certain amount of time. And then but when you see these people's feeds rotating and that they're getting 30 grand for this or 40 grand for this or what, I know it, and I know that everyone in my industry knows it. So to me, that kind of goes, it's nicer to find somebody who's not in it all the time, or somebody who makes really strategic choices, people who've never had a partnership with anybody in a certain space. Then when they do that, when I talk to my people, my endorsement team, about strategy and the vernacular, I'm like, what? I mean, I don't even understand, it's like a whole different language to me. But the more you listen, the more you pick up, and the more you think about, okay, it's nonsensical for me to say yes to this for this. Why don't I wait and do something that's of more import, or is going to be a bigger play over here, or you're going to find a product that you actually had the time to enjoy, test out, use, and like. There's nothing grosser than pretending you like something that you don't.
I agree.
Which is how I feel. No, just kidding. Just kidding, Mike.
Cut these out. I'm having a great time right now.
I'm glad. I like you a lot. I think you're very cute.
Thank you very much. I'm winking to the camera that isn't there.
It's a beautiful theater.
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
Yeah,
Are there people on the top?
I've performed here before. Something looks familiar.
Yeah. This is how it's normally for me when I'm doing comedy. It's just sold out giant theaters everywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
You might all recognize me from my stint on Swamp Murders as Farmer John. Nobody? All right. That's a real credit, by the way. All of you can look it up.
Swamp Murders?
It was a Swamp Murders reenactment show. Not kidding. Now, surprisingly, I didn't play the murderer. You
were the one murdered?
No, I was murdered by a tiny Hawaiian makeup artist and
Bretman Rock.
Bretman Rock. I apologize for the endorsement being wrong. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why I started talking about that, but it was.
No one does.
No. I'm just trying to contradict myself overall. So outside of branding, as I sharp left into back onto topic. You do a lot of social, there's a lot of social awareness and a lot of social activism, a lot of causes that you're very passionate about. Is it important to you to dig deep into those causes in order to choose who you want to align yourself? Or even as simple as retweeting a cause or a fundraiser or a benefit or something socially, politically in any one of those realms? Like, do you think a lot about that beforehand, or is it more of this looks cool in the moment, and then?
Well, right now, I mean, I wanted to take this. I've taken this year off mostly just to focus on getting as many females and women of color and people of color elected to government positions. I feel like, this year was, I know we don't all agree on all of these things, so I will talk to you about why. I mean, I just felt like this election was it just felt really dark and odious, and the vibe after the election felt like I didn't want to sit and just work and collect a paycheck for having some soapbox. You know what I mean?
Right.
Everyone was being called an elitist on the East and West Coast, and I thought, you know what? Why don't I take the year off? I can do that and go around the country and actually talk to people who I disagree with, who've had different experiences than my own, because I am a fucking elitist. That's exactly what I've always wanted to be. I moved to LA LA to get away from my used car dealer father and my family with the 6 children, where I was like, we were like the Sanford and Son of our neighborhood. And I was like, I got to have a real life. I want to fly first class. I went away from my family. I moved to California, and I got that life.
Did your dad also rent out the other half of his used car lot to a skeezy limo rental salesman like my father?
I don't think so. My dad wasn't even successful enough to have his own lot.
Well,
he just sold cars out of our driveway, so it was a hot mess.
Yeah, it didn't work for my dad either. And he goes, "How about those beat up rental limos? How about we do weird prom nights at our car lot?" And I was like, maybe I should go to college.
Yeah, I thought about going to college too, but then I forgot to apply anywhere. So I
That's that one trick. They always like, well, you didn't send anything in. Like, oh, screw you, pal.
Yeah, no, my dad was just, my parents were kind of hot messes, and they were not together. I was the youngest of 6, so it was like I was raising myself. My brothers and sisters went off to college, and I was like 6, asking them if they had a savings account, which they did not. So I ended up moving to California when I was 19 years old, and that was a great decision for me. But, this year was all about I wanted to put my feet on the ground. I'm shooting a documentary for Netflix. I'm doing these kinds of talks around the country. Some are more political, some are less political. And I just think it's really important that our government represents the population. And it's not representative. We don't need 75-year-old white men in office. We just don't. That's not the way this country looks. And they're too fucking old. I'm sorry. There should be an age limit.
A lot of age in politics.
There should be a term limit, and there should be an age limit. We need new people coming up all the time. So we've had huge success this year with special elections. We've had so many people of color being elected to mayorships. We've had so many first lesbians, gays in certain communities being elected to the state legislation. And state legislatures, all over the country. It's happening everywhere. So it's really, really motivating for me to go around and talk to people and have the ability to try to galvanize people. Obviously, right. This, with exception to an event like this, when I'm going into places and we're doing a theater, a lot of those people are already my fans and they already agree with my way of thinking. But I'm trying to talk to Trump supporters, and I'm trying to talk to people in the middle and trying to find out how we can come together on issues that are really, really about values, a term that I never thought I would ever have to be discussing publicly.
An elitist with values.
An elitist with values. Just because I don't know why being successful in an industry precludes you from having an opinion. It shouldn't. I pay my taxes happily. I'm part of a community. I'm informed. I read the newspaper every single day. I read news all day long. I make it my business to be informed. So I don't appreciate when people say you don't know what you're talking about. So I wanted to, I really wanted to show up in places that I don't spend a lot of time in and do that. I've been to Denver a million times doing stand-up, not a million times, but, doing stand-up. I've spent a lot of time here over the years. We were just talking about Denver Comedy Works. I did that for many, many weeks when I was
in the country?
Coming out. It is one. It might be the best club in the country.
Yeah,
I don't want to say that and then think of a better one, but
I'll endorse that brand.
But it's a great
best club in the country.
Yeah. So for me, that was really important this year. I'm taking the year to do that for the midterms. They're really important to me. I really just feel like this is a little bit too crazy and that we need to get back on track.
So, and for you, at the ability that you have to reach those people, it's important for you to be online, connecting with people on social media, but also offline, get them to engage outside of that. Do you find any particular method that you've used for getting people to? It's easy to retweet and easy to sign an online petition, and there's a million
It's not
of them.
that easy to sign an online petition, by the way.
Well, compared to coming out and showing up to do something, not you, but the people that you're trying to engage, do you find like a specific tactic, like this will get them actually out and get them in person? Because it's important to you, your social causes, to get them actually on their feet and moving.
For me, it's important to just put my money where my mouth is, to put money into things that I care about, to put money into organizations, to give money to people like Puerto Rico, who, this administration doesn't seem to care about. Those are American citizens. It's important for me to lead by example for the people that are taking taking my cue. It's important for me to put out information about candidates that are running, that are endorsed by Emily's List, candidates that are pro-choice, that are progressive, that don't want children stopped at the borders being separated from their parents, that do not want, Russia involvement in our election. Like, that want health care, things that I think are American values and that should be represented in this country. So I'm doing everything I can to just spread information. I have like plenty of, like my Facebook page is dedicated to everything that I'm doing and all the candidates that I support and all the causes that I support. And, you know, until we overturn Citizens United, which is the reason why everybody is for sale in this political environment, we can overturn that. And I don't think there's anyone who would vote for not having to ban having money in politics, to ban having companies, huge corporate PACs, giving money, and corporations giving money to politicians. It takes out the authenticity of everything because everybody becomes for sale. And you know, the only people that would vote for that are the Koch brothers or the Soros brothers. On both sides of the party, there are very, very powerful people who buy their way into government. Why would we want that? We don't want to give money. I don't want to give thousands of dollars to candidates every cycle either. And I don't want my representative or my senator coming home on the weekends campaigning and fundraising. I want them working. So I think we need to, for me, I'm finding candidates that support that support overturning Citizens United, that don't take money from super PACs, that actually are about their constituents. Every state is different in this country, but we're all one big country, and we all deserve health care. We all deserve basic human decency. And so that's, you know, I spread the message on that. And whoever's interested in following that does, and whoever's not, believe me, there are plenty of messages on that too. Because I don't know how to block. Because I don't know how to block anyone on Twitter.
It's the follow button.
I don't care. I like bad as much as I like good. Like I think it's a good, healthy balance.
Do you find, because you're very polarizing in both your when you have those discussions with people, because everyone's not going to agree with everything that anybody says. Mm-hmm. Do you find that there is a clear line between the comedy side or the TV personality that everybody knows versus who you are socially and in activism? Do you see that you'll lose followers on one side or the other, or you'll lose your reach by talking a lot about politics, which is wildly important to you? Or do you try to always find a balance between, because a lot of the people here, like, you know, adding humor and being a comedian and being a funny writer and a great writer and executive producer gives you a lot of skills and ability to reach people and to talk to people. Do you find that there is a way to make both of those happen at the same time?
Yes, I think that everything's more digestible if there's a little humor in it, infused in it. And of course, that's the way. I mean, I come from comedy. My whole, you know, that's how I started. I make everything. I mean, you know, I have to tell myself things aren't funny yet to not make a joke about it. Like, stop, don't say that out loud. I mean, it doesn't work all the time because I'm me and I've been with me for a long time and things just fly out. But
I've been with you for 8 minutes and it's flying, baby. I like it.
And so your socks are going to fly off.
I got the snaps up to my knees. That's not true at all. No. I'm a 90-year-old, 34-year-old. It's pretty good.
I think that it's just important to try and, you know, be who you are. You don't have to, you know, sometimes it is too serious to make a joke. Sometimes it is too serious, you know, with things that happen at our border and children being, that's not funny at all. There's nothing funny about that. I'm not a mother. I'm not a parent. I don't have any kids. I know that's wrong. So there are issues that you have to really like scream and yell about. And right now there seems like there are myriad issues and it never ends. But again, you know, you have to pick your platform for that. That's not Instagram. I don't find that to be a place for. People don't seem to like want to go on Instagram to read about that. And I get that, you know, Twitter is more about that, you know, Facebook is more about that, but that's not all, you know, I want to do. I can't be consumed with it because that's unhealthy too. I have to leave the country every few weeks just to get my breath back and harness my energy and outrage into something positive. You know, I want to have positive conversations with people I disagree with. I don't want to fight with people. I don't want to scream and yell. It's not fun. You know, I did that for a living for a long time, and it doesn't really get you anywhere but, you know, a paycheck. It doesn't make you understand somebody more or make you have more empathy or compassion or sympathy. And, you know, at my age, I'm 43, so I'm you know, maturing at a very, very slow pace, but I'm still maturing nonetheless, and now these things matter to me. So, you know, it's important just to, you know, I'm not going to go to a group of children and just start screaming at them about Donald Trump, you know, when I'm talking to kids about something, or we're getting kids to motivate to vote.
Chelsea Screams at Kids would be a great Netflix special. I would watch that.
I have a lot of episodes where I've gotten into altercations with children, just not about politics. For some reason, I just came back from vacation, and every vacation there were like 3 different children on these vacations, and I was surrounded by children all week long, like 2 weeks straight. And at the end, I said to my sister, what the fuck is happening? I've worked so hard to remain childless and single. Why am I surrounded by all these children? And she's like, you're making poor choices.
I think you're making the right ones.
I think I have to end some friendships.
I think you have too many friends.
Yes, always.
Well, do you think it's important, though, like, because, again, a lot of people involved with branding and heading up marketing to align themselves with charitable causes or political causes when it's going to polarize? You know, does a carpet cleaning company need to retweet and post political jargon?
No,
is it important always, or is there a line?
Well, I mean, I think it makes a difference to some people. I think if if it's a difference between FedEx and UPS ground service, I use UPS ground service. I don't use FedEx because they gave too much money to the NRA.
But did you find that out on your own, or are they retweeting like?
No, I have
Go
people.
Guns?
I have a team of people who inform me of who's giving money to what, and I don't want anybody involved in the NRA. I don't want anything to do with that. I want people to have their guns for hunting and everything. I just don't want people to go into schools and shoot people, shoot up. And the NRA isn't supportive of any sort of gun reform at all.
So you make a purchasing decision based on...
Yeah, so I make decisions like that, and then I let my audience know that I'm making that decision, and if they want to follow suit, that's up to them. And if they don't, that's also their decision. I'm not going to discriminate against somebody who chooses not to do what I do. I don't want to discriminate. That's the whole idea, is to have a higher tolerance for people who disagree with you. When it's not hateful, it's a lot easier,
Yeah, I guess because I see constantly nothing but...
But I don't think a carpet cleaning company should really be doing anything politically. You know what I mean? I mean, they shouldn't. I mean, you have to wait until you have an international business to make that kind of statement.
We're going to clean up carpets like we should clean up Washington.
Yeah.
Like, all right, Stanley.
That's good. That's good.
We're about the stains, pal.
He's going to be at Comedy Works all week, by the way, you guys.
Calm down.
You should use that at Comedy Works. That's a funny one.
I can't wait to use very specific digital
Say it was
marketing.
sanctioned by Chelsea.
Can somebody film her saying that?
And then say Clinton. If they don't laugh, say Clinton. If they do, say Handler.
I'm just going to go with Clinton. I feel like politically that might be,
That's better.
So what is there, because again, you straddle so much on both just straight as a funny person, as a brand capacity, politically, socially. Do you find a specific way, like when you're interviewing a celebrity or you're having a dinner or you're filming something on a documentary, do you find a specific tactic to get the information out of people? Like if somebody here wanted to engage with somebody else in a discussion or in a healthy discussion, whether it's political or not, even just in branding or trying to co-brand with somebody, do you think that there is a specific tactic that you like to get what you need out of an interview or out of a situation like that?
I mean, again, it goes back to humor for me. I'm very self-deprecating, and I like to be intimate with people. I like to be inappropriate with people. I like to get in and talk about interpersonal. I like to ask questions that are probably not appropriate for a first-time encounter, but that's just the nature of who I am. And I mean, my experience with interviewing people, it relaxes people when you start talking about yourself a little bit. That helps them because some people can be really nervous in that circumstance. I think that for brands, all the brands here today that are here, it makes a difference when you have somebody who has opinions versus somebody who doesn't really ever speak out about anything, who can be kind of a vanilla landscape. I mean, that's what a lot of big brands are looking for, but those small brands with niche audiences, like the girls on Instagram who have 1 or 2 million followers, who do little ads for fun brands, that sparks a little something extra when I see that than when I see something that's very, very broad. And that's coming from me personally. That's something when I look at something and go, oh, let me try that. Well, when somebody's constantly advertising and doing that, like I said before, it becomes a little bit rote and a little perfunctory. But it is fun when you can match a personality that's like out there, you know, like a Lady Gaga doing something. You're like, oh, that's interesting. Or you do something with somebody who has a smaller following but also has a big personality. You know, that's happening right now in the landscape of social media. There are so many people that have these core audiences, and the level of engagement is paramount to the amount of followers, because you can have 7 million followers and nobody's talking about it, or you can have 1 million and everyone on your feed is talking about it. So it is a time where it feels like lesser known people are getting into these deals for lesser amounts of money, and it makes more sense. You know, it makes there's more kind of like matching brands to personalities rather than only having, you know, 18 big brands doing advertising commercials, and then you have to find a huge celebrity to do it. Right.
So we'll try to kind of come to it, but tie this thing into a bow.
Okay.
Which is what I should do to my shoe. I should have done that.
Do you want me to do it?
If you tied my shoes right now, I would quit comedy.
They're both tied.
Is this one? No, it's not.
I'll tie it.
Don't, please don't.
I didn't see that one.
Please don't. I wish somebody take a photo, for crying out loud.
Hashtag me too.
But I asked, and you said yes, so it was all on board. I was very comfortable. I want everyone here to know that.
You should take that chair with you wherever you go. It suits you.
I don't know if you're making fun of me or not.
Actually, neither do I. I don't feel like I am, but it could come across that way.
It felt very genuine, but then they laughed, and I was like, maybe not.
Yeah.
I feel like they know something I don't. I don't like that there's people behind me either.
Do you want me to wrap this up?
No, I have... That's not going to work. What gives you hope?
Well, I'm excited. I am excited that I tied your shoe.
I'm tickled pink.
Because I haven't done that for anybody almost ever in my life. I mean, I can't remember the last time I tied. I don't have children, so when would I tie a shoe but my own?
I don't remember the last time someone's tied my shoes. I'm going to be honest. I don't remember the last time I tied my own shoes. I do a lot of slipping in and out of things.
Yeah, well, which is exactly why your shoes need to be tied.
Yeah, you might be right. I should get elastic.
You're fit to be tied, as they would say.
I am now.
Yes.
All right. Is there anything else that you wanted to...
I think you asked me what gives me hope.
I did, and I meant it. Is there anything that, like, as far as, and maybe we could talk about it in like the digital sphere. Is there anything exciting that you're seeing? Because you have a lot of stokes and a lot of fires. Is there anything in this world that you like are excited about you see coming down the pipe?
Yeah, I love the diversity that is being represented in branding. I love the diversity, the inclusiveness of the gay community, the transgender community, these people, and the minorities in every swath of this country. It is so important for us to be to be helpful in representing these communities and to be their allies, because without us, they are fighting alone. So in your world where you can make a difference and you can highlight people like this that are marginalized, that aren't represented on television. You know, we're having this Time's Up movement, and there's a lot of things that have happened this year. So we're all moving in the right direction, and even though a lot of times it feels like we're going backwards or forwards, or maybe you're not interested in going in that direction, it is this country, and it is really empowering to see those people stand up and stick up for themselves, and it makes you want to be an ally. So I would advocate that everyone here always taking, whoever, I'm sure you already are, I'm sure you have meetings about it all the time, but always don't just reward the most obvious person. You know, I don't need any more money. I'm not the most obvious person, but reward the people that are working and that are hustling and that are underrepresented, because that's the way the country's going, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's it.
Chelsea Handler, Denver, Colorado. Come on, make some noise. Let her hear ya.